I'm not here with Lizzy, actually. I'm here with... Lizzy's running late, so I'm here with her dad.
I am temporarily Lizzy.
Yeah. And we also... we have two other guests, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Who wants to go first? Do I go first or you go first?
You go first.
You go first.
Oh, I'll go first. Okay. This is Matt Mickelson, director of the Han Solo Chronicles, and I have my daughters with me who are also stars in the Han Solo Chronicles, playing Carmen and Navy Solo. Carmen and Navy, because we were just too lazy to do any research and come up with better names.
Yes. Hello.
They're here against their will, but they're just doing it so they could stay up late so they don't have to go to bed before school.
Not against my will.
They're smart
It's fine.
girls.
Just throw some apostrophes in the name and spell it with a K. It'll be fine.
Exactly.
There you go.
Throw some accents in.
Hmm
A hampersand,
Yeah, the thing over the E in Padme.
something like that.
Really? Who's that?
That'll work.
Yeah, what's that? Oh, who else we got?
Oh, sorry. Dan Heisey, a.k.a. C-3PO from Rebel Legion. Echo Base, formerly Ghost Base, but transferred back to Echo Base because Echo's more fun. But,
Sounds so serious that you were transferred.
yeah,
They erase your memory on the way, or
something like that.
yeah.
I'm just going to say it. I think the Ghost lasted longer than Echo Base.
I think you're right.
See.
Cool. Rebel
Goose is
Legion.
more fun, too. Goose is less cold than Echo Base.
Not by
True.
much in that Purgle episode.
Yeah, why do they always find the coldest places to set up?
Because that's where the Empire gets icicles hanging from the Stormtrooper armor. And that
Yeah,
happens, I've seen it.
Oh. So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Well, we have... So you're doing a solo... You're doing the Han Solo Chronicles.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain, what part of Han Solo's story they cover, I guess?
Sure. Okay. Well, this came along a lot simpler than it sounds, but I'm in my mid-40s, and I do an okay Harrison Ford voice and whatnot. And my daughters came to me winter break 2013 and wanted to play with the green screen. And I suggested, if I'm going to waste my time doing a green screen thing, because it's a lot of work for me, maybe we should do a Star Wars thing. I usually say they suggested that just to get me to do it, but I think it was me. As I sit in my office surrounded by Star Wars stuff, I'm guilty. So we just set up the green screen, which is literally a sheet, and just came up with some ideas and what we should do in front of the green screen, standing up and possibly walking around, and came up with little scenarios. And then we got the little kid chairs and sat in those and put a light below it and said, hey, we're in the Millennium Falcon. What are we going to say in here? I don't know. Look out. And there's the start of, just stuff that you would say. And
doomed.
Exactly. Well, I did not know any cosplayers at the time, so I didn't know that there were people out there with a real deal C-3PO costume. So I started stitching some of these things together and finding backgrounds on Google Images and whatnot, and it started to sort of look like something. And it was just supposed to be a fun video to show relatives, but then I started finding these old green screen animations of different ships and stuff, and I would mix those in with the space backgrounds that I found on Google, and then it started to really shape up into a story. And then I met some 501st guys, and it just got way out of hand from there. And
Meeting 501st guys is generally where it gets way out of hand.
Just because they look so awesome. You film them and you pop them in your story, and all of a sudden, ooh, this looks serious. You know, and once in a while I would have to get the kids back together to, reshoot some stuff or put in some additional dialogue just to make it make sense, because I was literally just stitching things together as we went, and they put up with me.
Cool.
Mind you that I was 12.
Yes, and my oldest was
no
12.
Longer 12.
Yeah,
That's the most important part.
she's 16 and regretting every minute of it. But no.
Hey, I have one of
I
those.
had a great time. Middle school, man, it was a time.
Did you get a lot of hazing for that?
Hazing?
I don't know. Did kids say,
Oh, no.
you're on YouTube? And I don't know.
No, it was all good. My friend, remember we had the screening with my friends and everything, and I thought it was really fun, but I just was embarrassed because I regret middle school.
Well, sometimes in front of the green screen, no one really took it seriously, and and unfortunately, that comes back up to bite you in the butt.
Yeah, and
But
I had a really weird haircut.
But it was a cool, like five wives of friends of mine actually got her same haircut after seeing it.
He started a trend.
Exactly. They're like, hey, that girl's hip. I'm getting that haircut, man.
Wow, that's futuristic.
What an interesting stamp of approval.
But I didn't want to, be too strict with the kids, on, you're not acting right, or you're not doing this right or that right. And I just wanted it to be fun, and there were times, where I had doubts like, this is such a waste of time. But, then we would start stitching together the stuff that we shot, and it was like, ooh, this is kind of cool. And then when, people that I didn't know that I ran into on the street were excited about it, I was like, well, shoot, maybe I'm onto something. And I seem to be about 4 years ahead of the curve for some reason on everything from Blade Runner to Star Wars. We finished it in 2016, and it turned into a 30-minute movie. And then a CGI artist called me from Venezuela or Brazil, and said, hey man, I love your movie. I've wanted to make a movie for the longest time, a Star Wars movie, and I just can't get the people together. But I like your story, but I could tell you don't know CGI or special effects or anything like that. Because green screen is very two-dimensional. It's kind of like, it's like South Park. It's putting paper on top of paper.
Right.
And he's like, let me take a crack at some of these shots and stuff. And he's finished like the first 10 minutes, and it's amazing. My jaw's been on the floor ever since. And he's working on that in between freelance jobs when he can, and it's a huge time-consuming thing. And I ran into this other VFX artist. He's like, dude, why don't we just do like new episodes? Go find yourself a Chewbacca, and we'll crank this thing out. And he wanted to do it before the new Solo came out, but he got busy on some freelance projects, so he's been up to his neck, and he's one of those guys that kind of like disappears off the face of the earth when he's working on something. And I found this guy Marty in Pennsylvania who happens to know Dan, and so all this stuff just started coming together. So it's like, well, why don't we make a real deal looking episode instead of my, cartoony version? And I think it's, totally possible. And it's just, Han Solo 13 years after Jedi, and whatever makes sense after that.
Cool.
So, that'll still be fun. Like, you can, like, after watching, like, Solo, you can be like, hey, I said something like that,
Exactly.
Compare lines.
Yeah.
How-
Ron Howard's been following me, though, so. He hasn't
Lizzy has arrived to the building.
Exactly. Or he hasn't called me and said, hey, Matt, you might want to adjust this or that.
Does your Chewbacca have goggles?
He
No,
will.
but we can get him some.
Now he
I'm
will.
finding that I'm really liking the Chewbacca goggles look right now.
Yeah, I think you can get those at the What's the store?
No.
What's
The Chewbacca goggle store, guys. Come on.
going on?
I don't know.
I think
Toshi Station.
Yes.
There you go.
Watto
Toshi
store.
Station.
What's that store?
A Watto store. There you go.
Rock and roll.
Is that even still open? I think they closed that down.
Yeah, you got to go to the
Watto's
Toshi
junkyard.
Station topic.
I thought Toshi Station was where they sold power converters, though.
And Hot Topic goggles.
For all the
Yeah. Toshi Station's like Walmart now. They have everything.
The good news is that if you buy 2 sets of goggles, chances are you get 150% off.
Exactly, because you could lose them on a train, maybe.
You never know. What
Um,
other, so you said this takes place after Return of the Jedi, and you said 13 years?
Yeah, well, I mean, when we decided to make it, I mean, my oldest was about to turn 13, and so that made sense. And and I'm about that age. A few years, I think Han Solo was supposed to be maybe 39, 40-ish at Return of the Jedi, and at the time, I was about 45, I think. So it just kind of made sense that somewhere in there, and.
Right.
And also, I mean, if he's supposed to be older, maybe the freezing process, slowed down the aging process.
There you go.
Yeah, saved him a year or so.
Yeah, I mean, the basics of the plots are usually they get caught, they get away, they get caught, they get away again. And anything else you can just kind of plug in and make sense, without really having to get into the literature or anything like that.
Cool.
Because
So you have a Han and you have a Chewie. Do you have any of the other buddies? Are there other people that we see in these episodes? I haven't seen the show. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
But who else is popping up? Do you have is Han palling around with Luke or Leia or what's going on? I'm just curious.
I sent links to Zoe, and you guys can check it out afterwards. But the original thing was just Han and his kids, because that's all I had available. And I didn't know any Chewbaccas. I didn't know people did that. And so it was just us. So I had to make up, just assume that Chewbacca's on sabbatical or something, or in recap. And
he was at the beauty parlor getting his hair
exactly.
done.
You know how long that takes?
He's at the goggle store, guys.
Exactly. Trying not to be creepy around the girl at the Hot Topic. And also we figure that 13 years after the fall of the Empire, the Republic or the Rebellion is going around doing humanitarian missions, basically trying to prop up everybody that was enslaved or had their cities destroyed or their planets destroyed by the Empire. And kind of going around doing all this, Peace Corps work, basically, because they are the family of a senator, so they kind of have to do that stuff. And so it's okay for him to, hop around doing these little missions with his kids because they're not dangerous. But, if they're anything like Han Solo, they're also self-reliant, so any trouble that they get into, it's no big deal. Because they know how to handle themselves, or at least they're being taught to do so. And once in a while, there could be a little spark of, hey, I have a weird feeling. Wait, you mean the Force? I don't know.
Yeah.
All that mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, and we didn't have a Leia available, so we just assumed Mom's at work or something. And
we can get one though.
Yeah, well, I hope so. That'd be kind of nice. We just worked with what we had, and my neighbor played the bad guy, and I had an actor buddy play the other bad guy, and one of our Mandalores took off his Mandalore costume and played another bad guy. So I was able to populate everything a little bit. And when we first started, our stormtroopers were CGI, really bad animation from YouTube, and then I finally got a real 501st guy to hop around in front of the green screen for us, so we could, replace all those guys. And plus, along the way, I was taking, ideas from fans and stuff like that, and also some trolls here and there that would just complain. And I would say, well, hey, we're fixing that. And, if you read below the picture, you'd know that. But trying to make everything constructive, so if there was someone that was a little trolly, trying to kind of like say, hey, look, this is a $0 effort here, so give us a break, man. And they would usually turn around and say, wow, this is awesome, so cool, keep it up, how can I help? That kind of business. But if someone was just really mean, that's just someone very upset sitting in their mother's basement, so I would just let that go.
Yeah, it's best to let it go.
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't have time or room for that. So, but constructive constructive criticism is always welcome. My kids are bored looking at their phones right now. You want to ask them
I'm actually looking at your YouTube channel to look at the comments on your most recent video.
Oh, that's awesome.
Good save.
They're wicked smart.
Pretty sure I've pulled an excuse like that before when I was on my phone.
Well, they actually am.
No, Dad, I'm helping you.
Well, what I loved about the original was you could very well tell that you guys were having fun. So, I mean, that would really endeared it to me. So, I think it's great that this is now continuing, and it's getting even more people involved in the fun, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
If we could turn it into a job, how cool would that be?
That'd be even better, but...
I remember very distinctly laughing so much while we were filming this because it was so difficult because we weren't taking it seriously.
You can catch some of that a little bit here and there.
We just couldn't stop laughing, and it took 10 takes to actually do it because I don't know, I would make a funny face by accident and maybe would do something funny and just lost it and couldn't get myself together.
Well, now you know how it works in the real world.
Yeah, and also the frustrating part, as someone who grew up, was a little boy playing this, at 7 years old, getting them to look like their guns are heavy.
Yeah, that was hard. That was very hard.
Yeah.
Because we made our costumes and our props out of stuff around the house. Our guns are squirt guns and flashlight parts that we painted black. Once again, we didn't know it was going to be a serious thing, so I didn't really want to spend any money. The only thing I bought was the officer cap, and the officer uniform I just made out of it's basically a dinner blazer and a Eddie Bauer vest turned backwards.
Hey, why not?
Yeah, and the hat. Everyone just looks at the hat. No one's paying attention to anything.
No. All your focus is from the neck up. You don't really look at the other stuff. It's a certain fans that go back and look at everything.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what? But as we are starting to assemble it, it started to feel like the same vibe that I got off the original. The original
good,
where they didn't take themselves too seriously and they were still running around and having fun. It wasn't like Rogue One where it was just like a awful place to be. It was just kind of, hey, we're in the Death Star. We got a blast out of here. It'd be great. But Rogue One just makes the Star Wars world look like an awful place to be, like the Civil War. It's just dirty. It's everyone's dying, and there's no fun whatsoever. We're saving the princess,
she's saving herself.
Exactly. But in the original Star Wars, it was just so much lighter, and there was so much hope built into the feeling of it.
Right.
Not necessarily the story, but just the feeling. That's why, people came out of the theater walking on air when that thing was over, no matter where you were from. Whether you're coming, whether you're in Newark, New Jersey, or Bangladesh.
Exactly.
which are not similar at all.
No. I think they filmed part of it in Bangladesh.
You might be right.
But so there's all kinds of new scenes. A new story, new scenes. What else is in the works?
Oh, a lot of this initially, the Blade Runner stuff and the Han Solo stuff, was just to make something while I wasn't making anything. And, my bread and butter is doing camera work and stuff like that, and some acting gigs when I can get them. But mainly, the Blade Runner thing was just to get attention for a cop show that I wrote based on my dad's life as a homicide detective called The Social Worker. Because the other cops called him a social worker because he was always helping his informants, get out of jail, get a job, get through high school, stay out of the jail system, and basically try to get their lives straight instead of, going the path that they were obviously going to go. Sometimes he had a success here and there, but most of it was depressing because people fall back into what they were doing, or they can't shake their addictions or just their way of life. And, so it could get a little depressing here and there. And I interviewed my father for a good 20 hours or so to cobble together a few stories. And I wrote a 2-hour screenplay. And I wasn't a writer beforehand. I tried to find other people to jump on it with me, but they wanted, tens of thousands of dollars and the full rights and everything. It was like, I can't, no. And so I just went ahead and wrote it. Turned out, I'm pretty good at dialogue. So, I just went ahead and finished it and used his stories as kind of the catalyst for everything. Because, I heard these silly stories my whole life, and they were funny just because of the stuff they got away with, the stuff that happened. And so, around 2007, I just sat him down and, poured him a glass of scotch and started talking. And then basically that's what all this stuff is kind of leading to. And as far as Han Solo is concerned, I had a conversation with the VFX artist in Vegas. And he was like, let's just do a new thing. Let's just do an episode, like what happens after. And, let's find a Chewbacca in Vegas and just shoot something in the desert. And during that conversation, I just ripped off a whole scenario. Or I just started, just the story popped into my head, easy peasy. Where, they have to... the Republic, which used to be the Rebellion, is now having to reintegrate the Empire into the Republic. And, so they're constantly making deals with these squadrons of Star Destroyers that have, run over sections of the galaxy, and they're not quick to give them up. There's different admirals whose egos are huge, and, they're like, no, I'm in charge of this section of the galaxy. I'm not giving it up. Who are you kidding? But... So they're trying to reintegrate all, this mass Imperial Navy back into the Republic. So they don't have all these rogue Imperial fractions running around harassing people, because, the Empire made life very hard for everybody. So the Republic is trying to reverse that. And so they go through these negotiations, and they send General Solo and his gang to negotiate with these guys and set up a deal and reabsorb that particular fleet or squadron back into the Republic. And they set off to do that at one of these several meetings, so to speak. And, stuff gets out of hand from there, or it backfires. Who knows? I'm going to keep that one in my pocket until you find out. That's on a basis.
Yeah. Well, I loved the script. I thought it was great.
Oh, okay. So you're going to spill the beans on me then? No.
No, I'm not going to spill the beans.
Well, and that's just a first pass. I mean, it can go in several directions.
It can change.
But it was just something to kind of get the juices flowing because, I think we got a lot. We got 35 years of story to fill.
Mm-hmm.
between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So why not fill it?
Definitely.
Wonderful.
You guys are so chatty. I feel like I'm doing all the talking. I'm sorry.
No.
No, it's okay.
Powering the conversation. I apologize.
You're here to talk about your movie, so, you should be able to talk about it. Did Lizzie get here?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. You just
there she
switched
is.
out without telling us. Okay.
Oh, I thought my dad said something.
No.
Sorry.
So
Hi.
I'm busy. So
Okay. So, the fan film. So, just a question. So would you consider yourself, I guess, like a fan of Han if you're doing this movie?
yeah. I didn't really, when I was thinking about the plot for the Blade Runner thing back in like 2008, I had kind of discovered accidentally that I could do the voice, Harrison Ford's voice. And then, a lot of people would say, oh, you look just like, so-and-so. So I, put the two and two together and started working on the mannerisms, how Harrison Ford moves when he talks. So, I just went ahead and did that because, now if I have an idea for something, I've got a ready-made Harrison Ford ready to go, and I know where he lives, and he works for cheap.
He works for cheap.
So after the Blade Runner thing fizzled out, and the girls brought the Han Solo idea up, or I brought it up from their wanting to play with the green screen. Blame them forever. So anyway, so already having that asset of being able to do Han Solo at the 45-year-old age, 40-plus age, after Return of the Jedi, it's kind of like, why not? Why waste that resource? And plus, I'm a filmmaker, and plus I think I have a really good insight as to what makes sense in the Star Wars world. If these people are in the room, what's going to happen? What are they going to say, and how are they going to say it? And what's their attitude towards what's being said? And eating this Star Wars stuff and watching it all these years, it's kind of natural now. It's like a muscle. It just works, and I don't have to think too hard about it to make it good, I think. Because just the little quips and stuff like that, they're very. It's just very easy to come up with because it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think and I think people want to see more of these characters too. Even though they're trying to shift the focus away from them.
Yeah.
But there's like you said, there's 30 some years in between. Okay, well, what happened? So, you got to fill the void in.
Yeah, and why not?
And so many of the fan films are about generic Jedi.
Yeah,
and it's just like, who is this, and why do I care about them?
Well, that you're introducing characters that nobody cares about, and it, and believe me, I watched a lot of these, and a lot of them are very well shot. They're effects are awesome, but there's zero story. It's just two angry dudes in the woods that happen to have lightsabers, so they fight it out, and then it's over for no particular reason, and I would just, they would spend 10 minutes on the crawl in the beginning, and then the 2-minute fight, and that I don't know, that's not a story to me,
right?
And once again, I'm kind of lucky that I have this asset of being able to do the Han Solo thing. Is I could kind of run with that, and I'm at the age that I can do that. It's just a matter of, getting people excited about it, wanting to see it too. I mean, I don't think I'm in the minority here. Just starting to make it, hopefully will ignite, a lot more interest and, because I would be happy doing a couple of these a year and starting to plug some serious stories out and taking ideas from fans, and also with our Indiegogo campaign, we're like offering like walk-on roles and stuff like that. If you're donating past a certain amount, I'll throw anybody in a Star Wars costume and blow them up. I'm happy to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Stand
happy to put them in the trash compactor.
Sure. And they're happy about it too.
Exactly.
The real honor.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be?
And I've started collecting like the real deal props and stuff in preparation for this. Because for the original, we just, like I said, my holster is from my drill in the garage. And the outfits are just from stuff we had hanging around the house. So I really want to make this look like the real deal. So we're starting to buy props and things like that. But, the reason why we're doing the Indiegogo campaign is because if we do any more episodes with the VFX artists, which makes it look like the real deal, it's starting to get expensive. And I can't do this whole thing out of my own pocket. Because I'm already looking down the barrel of $5,000 to get the first one off the ground. So I would rather not fund that myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. But have you seen the Han Solo like little fan film that was out a couple years ago with Jamie Costa?
Yes.
What did you think of that one?
I think he's awesome.
Oh, I love Jamie. He's awesome. He's great.
I mean, I haven't corresponded with him or anything like that, but he really nails the delivery once in a while and the attitude and mannerisms. And I understand he is an imitator of like different people like Robin Williams and whatnot. Yeah. But they look like they sunk some bucks into that too.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that one.
Yeah, I would hope that ours was on that level.
It's time for Navy to go to bed.
Okay, Navy's got to go to bed. Everyone say bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Got school tomorrow.
I also have school, but I can stay up because it doesn't matter anymore.
All right. And hopefully, if Carmen's in the next one, she'll have the blue hair that she has now.
Yes.
Blue hair is cool.
Yes, it is.
Thanks.
Zoe would know.
Yes.
Okay. Got to compare photos to see who's sporting the bluest of the blue hair.
There you go.
Our cats keep visiting.
Oh, baby. Ow. She left.
Yeah, so Jamie Costa's work is amazing. And also the Anthony Ingruber guy, Canadian or is from Holland or something like that, but he's American. He nails it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, as a 25-year-old, Harrison Ford. As
a younger Han Solo, yeah.
I do not know why Disney did not jump on that. I have no idea. I
don't know what was going on there. It's just some casting directors you have to wonder.
I mean, maybe they'll use them in Indiana Jones 5, 6, and 7, and 8. I don't know.
There you go. Maybe that's
Maybe that's where that's going. I don't know. But, I mean, if we got some funds through Indiegogo, I'd call them and say, we need a flashback, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, my gosh, that would be so much fun.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, that would be pretty... I mean, I would be happy to, step away from the screen and just direct, to have that guy. Because he really, really nails the... pre-1977 Harrison Ford. Looks just like him. It's ridiculous. And sounds like him.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't nail it, I could always fix it in post with my own voice. So,
There you go.
I guess. Kind of a team effort. And with all these things, I'm just about having fun, but if we can crank out a great story that people are really excited about, even better. Put in a bunch of film festivals and fan film festivals and other things. And instead of just living on YouTube is basically a placeholder for things that, you send people. Because it's a huge, vast ocean of stuff,
Yeah.
And, it's like sending a message in a bottle and hoping it arrives in some particular place at a particular time. It's not going to happen.
Well, I think getting the 501st / Rebel Legion / Mandalorian mercs involved was a good idea, because that will help, bring in more of the fan base and get it out there. Say, hey, look at this little movie I did, and it'll get shared all over the place. And before you know it, it'll explode.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I hope the fact that I'm enjoying, and I don't know if I'm biased because I made it, but I feel like it kind of brings back the old magic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That once again, getting back to that hopeful feeling, when you come out, after you watch it, you're like, wow, that was awesome. Or, I really want to recapture that. And I think they kind of started to get close to that in Force Awakens,
Yeah.
And sometimes they get close to that in Star Wars Rebels. And it's kind of like one of those things, when you see it.
Yeah, it's just that feel-good feeling.
Yeah. And you forget about the tech or what's canon or what's
right.
EU or whatever it's called, expanded universe.
Yeah.
Which these are all new terms to me. Other people bring this stuff up, and I don't know what they're talking about because I haven't really gotten into it. So, that's why I'm not really too bogged down by making this our own thing. Han Solo and Chewbacca and Han Solo's kids or whoever jumps on board, they're going to have these adventures, and they're going to happen whether, it matches up with this, that, or the other thing or not. They're just adventures. You get in trouble, you get out of the trouble comes back, you get out again. And that's enough, and how complicated it gets or how complicated the plots are, that's just in the writing. But the spirit of the thing is what really, really matters. And I think that's what comes through is the fun part.
Right.
Right,
I have a question. What themes do you like to show in your films?
Usually I like the theme of, let's say, love lost or doing the right thing to save a situation, even though you'll never really get the credit and no one will know you did it, and having to live with that. Also, kind of quietly being the hero of a situation, and not necessarily, taking the credit for it, because you can sometimes without coming off as a total jerk. In essence, you kind of take a step. The character takes a step back to make everybody else happy. Without being a total egomaniac about the amazing thing they did to get everybody there. Also, and that adds, I guess, a bit of stoicness, I suppose. In a movie like, say, Always, Steven Spielberg, Richard Dreyfuss, Holly Hunter, where Richard Dreyfuss's spirit has to basically grow up and let go of his old girlfriend and step aside and let her live her life and be happy that she's doing that, thus sacrificing his happiness, really, to let her find hers or let her move on with her life, and other examples, maybe, I don't know, Indiana Jones, I guess, where he's all about, it belongs in a museum, and I don't care what it takes. I'm going to get it there. And, my feelings or anyone else's feelings for me, that's not important right now. And I have to set that aside. But at the end, there's a little yearning under there, but he's too ignorant to know what it is, I think, maybe. You know what I mean? So something tells him to go back to Marion, or he should have, just got a teaching job and raised kids. But, he's too... he gets too caught up in the chase, and that's his real mistress, is the adventure part.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Like another movie, Family Man, with Nicolas Cage, directed by Brett Ratner, I think, where, this egomaniac Wall Streeter dude, gets sucked back into what his life could have been if he stayed with his old girlfriend. And it's this simple little life in New Jersey with 2 great kids and all that stuff. But then after a couple of months of that, he gets swept back to Wall Street land. And, he literally wakes up in a different bed in the morning, and he has to deal with the fact that he can't get back to where he was happy. And the only thing he could do is move forward and approach the woman, that he should have married the 15 years prior, and say, look, we can have this great life together, and I need you to be on board with this, even though I haven't seen you in 15 years and I left you because I'm a jerk. But you have no idea how great it is and what I've seen, and you need to see it. And being able, wanting to take that risk that he just might fail and be unhappy for the rest of his life, knowing that he could have had all of that, even though when he first got there, he thought it was crap, because he wasn't making very much money, and all he had was his wife and his kids. But then he realizes that money's not where it's at. It's about the family, stuff like that, where people learn stuff.
Learning's good.
And I think we've all learned.
Yeah. The more you know.
Something like this. So, is Lizzie there?
Yes.
Lizzie, do you have any? Have you guys? Did you get a chance to look at anything?
I was looking at some stuff this morning. Yeah, I was in first period, so I probably shouldn't have, but I was.
That's all right.
Did I?
We won't tell your dad.
Yeah.
He'll only listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great podcast, but I got suspended, so.
Priorities.
Yeah. Stupid school.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, go ahead. Huh? Did you have
I
a
didn't say anything, I'm sorry.
Do you have any questions?
That was, I think, the only question I had, mostly the themes.
Yeah.
I like to figure out the themes in most films or books, since it kind of ties everything together.
Yeah, I mean, that's it all depends, and sometimes you have different themes for different characters, and sometimes you only have one character that has a character arc, which is where they learn something, where they go from being a jerk to not being a jerk, or they go from being a really nice person, but they get screwed over so many times they become a jerk. That's still an arc. It's just, in a different way than we're used to seeing. Darth Vader's arc. I mean, he was a decent kid, and then, got jealous and turned into a bit of a weenie, that killed his people that worked for him. I brought you a sandwich. I said baloney. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm allergic. And yeah, exactly. Bologna smells weird, but it's delicious.
For a second, I thought you said Filoni.
Oh,
And I was like, wait.
oh no! I hope you didn't get a lot of crap for that in grade school. Filoni, bologna, or
Oh yeah, that's true.
he's made up.
That poor guy. He's laughing all the way to the bank now.
Exactly. Here's your phony baloney.
Who's phony now?
But Zoe, I understand you cosplay Sabine.
I do. So does Lizzy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is one a different shade, or is it the exact same thing?
Where Lizzy has more than me. You have seasons 1, 2, and 3. I just have seasons 1 and 2, but the other seasons are in the works.
Really? What's the diff?
There's a lot. The armor paint job is pretty much completely different in every season, except the shoulder plates don't change from 3 to 4. And
Really?
the one shoulder doesn't change from 2 to 3. The hair is different. New gauntlets in season 3. Yeah, everything else is just different. It's just different paint. Oh yeah, leg armor. Sometimes she has the leg flares.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that stuff is not easy to walk around in.
I mean, there are worse costumes to wear, like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example.
So what?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Dan screwed into that thing, with like Allen wrenches and whatnot.
No, that's where I drew the line.
You can do pretty much anything to Dan when he's in his 3PO costume, and he can't do it anything back. You can put.
But I remember.
You do.
That's where you start finding stuff on your chair,
Yeah, or in your tote.
Put pizza in our totes.
Oh.
I could go on, but no. Well, Dan, we'll definitely have plenty of straws for you on hand.
Oh, good. That'll help.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe we could rig something so it's just strapped to you all the time.
There you go. Somebody asked me one time. They said, "Do you have any fans in the helmet?" I said, "I don't know where I'd put them other than up my nose."
Well, we'll try not to shoot when it's too hot.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Purely winter scenes, please. Yes.
Yes. Air conditioned set. It's in my. It's a rider in my contract.
Yeah. I didn't say. Go ahead, please.
Dan, I think one of the first troops I did with you, I think you maybe like scratched something, and I was like, "Oh no!" And then you just pulled out really shiny gold duct tape and just put it over, and you're like, "It's fine. I don't need to worry."
Yeah. I think that. Yeah, there's a lot of gold tape on the suit right now. But that was actually just a fluke that it actually matched. But when I looked at the original, when it was there in New York, when they did, I guess it was last year or the year before when they had the Power of the Costume tour. I got up close to the costume. I'm like, oh look, gold tape. So it was on the original too.
Don't you carry around one of those paint markers?
Yep, got that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, got all the tricks.
Gotcha.
It helps having a photographer as a friend too, so he can keep me in good lighting.
Yeah, exactly. Or we don't see half the crew reflected in your outfit.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
but we just did a. I'm going to drop a little hint here. We just did a music video for this band called Galactic Empire, and it's coming out on May the 4th, and it was green screen, because it takes place in another location, and they wanted 3PO in it, so I said, okay, why not? But then I was like, I do have a tendency to reflect my surroundings, so I don't know what you're going to do about that. So they're like, well, don't worry about it. I was like, okay, just don't make my legs disappear or something.
Yeah.
But it should be pretty interesting. So I'm anxious to see it. It was, I think we did we did 2 different scenes 4 takes of each scene, like 4 different angles.
Uh-huh.
So I was only supposed to be in 1 scene, and it ended up I was in 4. Well, actually 3, because they did a reverse scene of the one shot. But it should be a 3-minute song, and it's like it took 8 hours to do. So it should be pretty interesting how much of it ends up in it.
Well, you never know. So I'd rather, like, as a filmmaker, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have
Right.
it. So,
yeah, exactly. I get that.
Wow, we got.
Now, unfortunately, it was a non-speaking. Yeah, it was a non-speaking part. So your movie, I'll get to use my voice.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that. Would we? We'd probably do your voice in ADR. No.
I'm not familiar with what that is.
Oh, it's the audio digital recording that you do while editing.
Oh, okay.
Like, for like stormtrooper voices and stuff like that, because everyone's wearing a helmet, so they could
Yeah.
say whatever you like. But I'm not
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
But if we put a microphone in your helmet, that might get a little tight. So, and it may not have that echo, so we'd probably have to do it in post.
Yeah, it's better to, I think, add it later.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could say things just so we know what's said, but the good thing is that if the lines don't work, we could always fix them later.
Exactly.
And that's the good thing. So, I mean, the important thing right now, Zoe and Lizzy, is the Indiegogo campaign, and I started that a couple weeks ago, I think, and that is basically to raise a few bucks so we could actually shoot a few more episodes of this. I'm hoping to squeeze like 2 or 3 episodes out, and most of the money is for the VFX artists, but also to compensate the 501st a tiny little bit, but also if that's not kosher, we could at least feed them and fly them and give them gas money and stuff. Because if there's anything I know as a filmmaker, a fed crew is a happy crew. And pizza is not food.
You always want to feed your Wookiee. Just saying.
Yeah.
Especially the Wookiee. So
he goes straight for the craft services table. I'll tell you that right now.
Or the audio guy.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of like the big thing that we're working on right now is just trying to get a few bucks for that to get that going, and then that will, if that goes well, that'll also parlay into raising money for the cop show, based on my dad's life as a homicide detective, and that would be the dream. But also, it would be great if Disney maybe took notice and said, "Hey, you want to make more episodes? Here's $50.
That's not something pretty.
Yeah, don't spend on one face, kid." But that it would be nice if that audience took notice and said, "Hey, you guys are pretty good at this. Maybe if we gave you a few bucks, you can make like an online show or do a few short films or give us some ideas that we'll steal." I don't care. I mean, the fun part is the process. And going to a few film festivals or showing it at Comic-Cons and stuff like that, and going and talking to good people like you, and it's as it's a whole thing. It's a community. That's all I got to say about it. My daughter's making fun of my laugh.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
I know. You could say things.
No, I don't really have a lot to say.
Oh my.
Unless you ask me a question.
What was your favorite part of working on the
Probably the outcome, like being able to see it and everything.
Yeah.
Like the screening was always really fun and like a nice community project, and like seeing the response from everyone was always really good, and just seeing it progress as time goes on.
which is good.
Okay.
Good answer.
Yay. We had a couple of screenings in the city, and at our local library has a theater. But unfortunately, venues cost a lot of money in this area. Like, place wanted like $2,500 for an hour, and I was like, what?
No, thank you.
Yeah, no.
But the local libraries were very generous, and they charge a very small amount, and I still haven't gotten a bill. There's a couple of places in New York City that charge very little, because basically they're bars with screening rooms, and we were able to show there, and just to get it off of YouTube and get it off of people's laptops, and they could experience a film the way they're made to be experienced, and I feel bad for generations who haven't seen Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back on a big screen with the big sound, and I think they really missed out on a lot. You don't get the same sense of wonder that you do walking away from your laptop. And before Force Awakens came out, I was really surprised they didn't re-release the old films for a month.
I remember years before Force Awakens came out, they re-released Phantom Menace. So that was like the first time I saw a Star Wars movie in a movie theater screen. Was it
really? Did you go see that 3D version?
I don't think it was 3D, just because I've never liked 3D. Just gives me a headache.
Oh, okay. It was actually better in 3D.
I agree with you on the headache part, yeah.
I saw it in 3D, and I really loved it because the explosion of all the battle droids right into your face.
Yeah.
IMAX doesn't give me as much of a problem anymore, but like when 3D, like when that first started to become a thing, I hated it. It just did not work well with my brain.
Yeah, well, I always figured it. Do you remember the story, or do you remember the 3D? The story is the most important part.
Yeah, I remember the story. I mean, that wasn't my first time. That was far from my first time seeing Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Have you guys had a chance to see the original Star Wars in a movie theater?
No. There's this theater near... Well, it's not super close to me. It's a theater we go to. And they like, every Monday or something, they have, like, matinees of older movies. And I keep checking every time we go there. I'm like, are they going to do Star Wars? But no, it's like older, like musicals and movies I've heard of but haven't seen.
Well, in New York City, sometimes there's a couple of theaters that show the original Blade Runner, which is amazing to see. Yeah, I mean, no one really puts out Star Wars or anything. I don't know why. And in 1968, they did the re-release before Phantom Menace came out. And, the reaction was just nuts.
Yeah, I remember that. I think the back before Force Awakens came out, the original plan was after Disney acquired Lucasfilm, they did the movies in 3D. So apparently they did all of them, all original 6.
Really?
That's why Phantom Menace came out in 3D. That was the first. And then it was supposed to be Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi, all in 3D. Wow. But then some negotiation or something went on somewhere, and they're like, wait, let's think about this. Do we really want to do this? Or can we just maybe put that on the back burner for now and focus on the new movies? So I think that's what happened there. So we almost had it, but didn't. But yeah, I agreed. I mean, I was surprised that they didn't kind of, push the films out there for a little bit like they did before, because it would have been fun to see them again, but oh well.
It just makes so much sense. I mean,
yeah.
Apparently the executives are smart people, I assume, and that would be like a no-brainer.
Even for a day, like they do. What movie company is that does that? Fathom Films.
Uh-huh.
Fathom Events. They put out classic movies. We just went to see. We We took my niece. She's in her 20s now. We went to see Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe. And these girls probably don't know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, and Jack Lemmon. It's a classic movie, black and white movie. Funniest movie you've ever seen. And it was back in the theater for just a day. And it's great to see it on the big screen. I mean, it's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Totally a whole different experience. Completely takes you out of the element.
Yeah. I mean, even if you got a 90-inch flat screen at home, it's still not the same thing.
No.
You know, because you're not sitting in the theater with, 400 people.
Right.
There's a certain energy you don't get in your living room,
But who knows? Maybe they'll, I don't know, maybe they'll do it. I don't know. We don't know.
I thought
Mouse has got big ears, but he's also got tight lips.
I thought for the 40th anniversary they might release A New Hope in theaters for just a little bit, but
yeah, I thought so too. But I guess they're just trying to focus everything on the new stuff.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
So Zoe and Lizzy, what are you guys looking for in these new films, or what the new films that Disney's making, but also with the Han Solo Chronicles? What are you guys looking for? What would you like to see?
I think my favorite stories have a sense of like you said, hope in the Han Solo Chronicles, hope, and I mean honestly, I feel even Rogue One, which ended in pretty much the worst way a movie could end. I still I walked out of that theater still feeling hope because Leia at the end,
right?
There's a sense of hope and everything's gonna be okay. They're gonna push the Empire. I guess they don't push them out of anywhere. They just kill them all. But still, the Empire's gonna go down. And then with Force Awakens and Last Jedi, I felt that too. So just hope, and also part of what made me love Rebels so much was the story around family. I love stories about family, so that stuff I look forward to as well.
Also, you made me just think about in Rebels, who's the bad guy that's always after them? The blonde guy. Admirals. Huh?
Callus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Admiral Callus, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he want to stop being a bad guy because it was exhausting and wanted to...
Agent Callus met Zeb, and Zeb made him realize, hey, the Empire kind of sucks. So Callus was able to escape and join the rebels.
Yeah. I don't think I saw the episodes after he kind of had that realization. And with the next episode that we want to do, that's kind of a funny thing with the officers of the Empire. They're so used to being homicidal jerks, that have village, cities destroyed at the flick of a finger or a whim, and actually, coming to the realization, being a jerk is really exhausting. And if there's another way, I'd like to do that instead. And, Han Solo and Chewbacca kind of giving them that chance,
Yeah.
In a sense that, you get to keep your job. We're not here to execute you or anything for being a terrible person, but you're just working for us now. And you can't go around harassing people so you could take their, stuff, basically, is what they went around doing, taking everyone's stuff to power their navy, with the kyber crystals and all that kind of business, enslaving, entire planets to dig up stuff, resources. And now maybe you guys could just go around protecting people, which you don't have to be a jerk all the time to do that. And here's your big chance.
But also being nice is exhausting too.
To a point.
I think being decent isn't exhausting. Being nice can be exhausting, but being decent and not evil shouldn't take that much energy.
Have you guys seen Schindler's List?
No.
I'm guessing that's a no.
It's a very important movie for you to see. If you haven't.
Gruesome and will make you cry a lot.
Very awful.
Make you very depressed. But it's very important to see, like, because it's about World War II and the Holocaust, and it like really sets that weight on you, realizing that this actually happened. Oh my God, this is so scary. Let it never happen again, please.
And the important part in there was Oskar Schindler, a businessman, was taking advantage of these people because he saw an opportunity with the Nazis rolling in. But there was this really mean Nazi that killed indiscriminately, and Oskar Schindler had to buddy up to him to keep his supplies going. But Oskar Schindler would try to get this guy to not be such a jerk and say, you don't have to, show your muscles all the time. You could be more forgiving. You could not be such a terrible person. There's more power, because this guy was just concerned with power. Plus, he was kind of insane. But he was so obsessed with power that he thought power was just killing people indiscriminately and getting his way. And instead, the businessman, Oskar Schindler, convinced him that, no, there's power in not doing the easy thing and pulling the trigger on an unarmed person. It's much harder and more powerful to not do that. Don't take the easy road and just shoot somebody just because you're a big poopy pants. Take a second and let them go. That's real restraint. That's real power. And for a while, he actually convinced him of this, and made him see, the Jews as people, because this army was convinced that these people were the enemy and they're not even real people. So, kill away. And for, in imperial officers, the empire is based on the Nazi regime. That's their whole baseline. And so they're basically British space Nazis, that are just very unforgiving. And the way they exert power is by eliminating everybody, because they don't see anybody else as being, valued to have life. They're not real people or whatever. And that's an ultimate evil to overcome. And that's what was so great about the original Star Wars, is they overcame that unforgiving, unsurmountable evil that will not stop unless you stop it. That was deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was very deep.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
A new poem. Yeah.
Bo Burnham.
Oh, Bo Burnham. He's hilarious. So, is someone driving away? Okay.
Sorry.
The motorcycle's back again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ruined the podcast.
They're awful. They're everywhere.
So, yeah, I mean, Dan and I kind of grew up with this, so it's totally ingrained in us. It's like, it's we don't have to reach too hard to pick it apart. Just because we've been, mulling over it for 40 years. And, you guys are pretty new to it, relatively speaking.
I mean, I grew up with Star Wars, definitely. I've been trooping for 10 years now.
What?
Yeah.
I was a Jawa. I was a very little Jawa.
You'll have to have your dad, Zoe. You have to have your dad send Matt, the clip of you guys in the grocery store as
Right?
Jawas. That is so adorable.
Yeah, but that was a great day for me because my dad was like, "Oh, you're cute Jawas. Just buy whatever you want." And I was like, "Whatever I want."
I didn't know
I came
that.
home that day with several boxes of cupcakes.
Oh,
Great.
there wasn't a TV department for you to go.
I'd have put on a brown robe and some glowing eyes if somebody had told me that.
That was great because they were like, "Oh, it's so cute. It's Jawas buying all the stuff," and I'm just like, "I'm going to eat all of this when I get home."
Yeah, so she's definitely well versed in it. Yeah.
Lizzie, you have some years under your belt too.
Not as much as you, but I've been like Star Wars has been in my life like forever, but I didn't start really getting into like the charity work until I was 10, and that's when I went with Saber Guild and started doing lightsaber fighting. 6 years later, you know.
That's awesome.
Lizzie,
Well, getting cool lightsaber skills. What's up?
this is kind of a random question. How old was Axel when you guys started?
Oh.
Your
Oh,
little
Why
brother.
are you making me do math, Zoe?
sorry. I
Just
just
at school. I don't know. We're 4 years apart. So I don't know. He was little.
so he would have been like 6 because that's how old I was when I started.
Yeah.
Solidarity.
Was he an Ewok?
Huh?
Was he an Ewok? Is that how you start? Ewok or Jawa?
Tiny Jedi. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I trooped with a kid when I was younger. I trooped with a kid that did an Ewok, and they did it once, and they hated it because it was a very hot day in the summer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I think pretty much the only thing worse than a Jawa would probably be an Ewok for a kid. So, yeah, never saw them troop again.
Also, my little brother, like, there was in Saber Guild, we make up our own stories and we make a show out of it and perform it in front of people for charity and at cons. So there was one story where we were going to have Kylo Ren kind of going through trials, and he sees himself as a youngling. And so my little brother was supposed to be little Kylo, little Ben, but he got sick, so I had to do it. And this was, I think, 2 years ago. So I wasn't a very young Ben, but younger. And yeah, my little brother does Ezra Bridger, and he does Boba Fett. Sorry, not Jango. He has Jango's helmet.
Cool. What does your dad do?
My dad is Voss and Kanan.
Okay, who's? Oh, okay. From Rebels, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And Lizzie, what does your dad do?
That was Lizzie.
That was you mean Zoe.
Zoe. My dad is a stormtrooper. He's been my dad's a stormtrooper. He's been working on a sand trooper for 8 years now. Which is my fault, and because I have Sabine costumes to work on. He's very close to being done. I think he has just like a couple straps and things to put on, and then the sand trooper's done, but I'll get to it eventually.
Why is it taking him so long? Is it dirt not sticking right or
No,
something?
the dirt's fine. It's just putting the armor itself together and having annoying children that want costumes of their own.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, it's my fault. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you guys make your own molds and stuff or something, or do you order them, or?
For the armor, at least in my case, for the armor, we make it out of plastic. For the helmet, we order it because we don't know how to do that. Well, we made Ketsu an Aketsuanyo for my sister. We made the helmet for that, which Dan sculpted. We like molded it and stuff, but we ordered the Sabine helmet because.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how to do that stuff at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill.
Well, now they have the academy in like the 501st at least, I know. And so they'll help you put together a costume. You know, because back in my day, there was no academy. There was just a couple of links, like, here's where you buy your stuff. Have good luck. Figure it out. So, it's different now.
Which is why my dad is posting on our website, theroguerebels.com, how he built all the costumes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one good thing about the Han Solo stuff. It's all just fabric, you know, and that's it. It's all pretty stuff, you know. But you know what was really hard to find were the darn boots.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, yeah, boots are horrible, especially Jedi boots.
Well, I mean, I had to order and return like 3 or 4 different pair. Back and forth with Amazon and whoever, but then I finally, something arrived like a week ago that finally fits. You know, unfortunately, they don't sell men boots. It's a girl thing.
My dad has. I mean, it's not an official costume. It's just a costume he wears sometimes, just to walk around. But he has like an old Han, like he has a jacket and stuff, and he was gonna get the boots. So we ordered the boots, and they came in like a day before. I think it was Celebration we were going to. They came in like the day before we were going to leave, and they were too small. We waited for them for like a month.
Oh, I remember that. I remember him telling that.
That's a real letdown. I mean, some brands you order and they're garbage, and other brands you order and it's too short, too tall, or in one iteration, the tall boots came and they like scraped the back of my knees, and and those are fancy. But finally found the right ones someplace in China, and just got those the other day. So that'll have to do.
Yeah.
Some brands are very high quality, especially for their price, but they take 2 years to get a Jin costume to you. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing with a lot of the independents. I've been waiting on a few goodies. Friends have promised me, and that they've got their pay clients, and then stuff falls by the wayside. I get that. But like with the blaster, I just got the Mauser airsoft gun, and then bought the little conversion kit and threw it together. Because I just didn't have $1,500 for a real deal blaster or anything like that. It's camera ready, but
yeah.
And plus, I got the belt. I got to figure out how to age the belt a little bit. Because
I can hook you up with somebody in New York there that can help you with that.
Oh, good. That would be great.
Yeah.
Because the boots are a little too shiny and new too. And I had the pants. I got the yellow stripes, and I had a pair of army green, kind of like cargo pants ish, and put them on there, because the whole thing with the Han Solo thing, it's like it's 13 years later. Of course, he's wearing different stuff.
Same jacket.
or machinations of he could wear the A New Hope shirt with the blue jacket, and plus you got to assume he lost the blue jacket when he went into carbon freeze. So, but with him being such a smart guy, you would think he would just buy like 10 pairs of his favorite outfits and be done with it, so he doesn't have to think about it.
Speaking of outfits, did you see the sorry to get off track, they just posted on Facebook the tour of the Millennium Falcon with what's the actor's name that's playing the young
Glover.
Lando? Yeah, and he walks into that wardrobe room in the Falcon, and there's all these capes.
Well, that has.
That's fun.
Any
I
of
love
you
it.
read Last Shot?
No.
Oh.
Okay, well, this is like a spoiler, but like not really. It's about capes. Does anyone care? But basically, he's like getting dressed, and he goes to his closet, and he's just picking through all of his capes. It's great.
Well, it's like a dinner jacket.
He's like, well, I don't know. Is this cape good? Or, maybe this cape. No, this cape's more of like a formal thing. I don't know. I like that scene. I thought it was great.
He's got his smoking cape, his gardening cape,
his gambling cape, his
jogging cape.
Yeah, his escape cape.
Gotta get out of here. No, wait. I gotta get my cape.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be a funny
My
scene.
escape cape.
That would be a pretty funny scene.
That would be hilarious.
Lando has.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm liking this whole movie just because Lando and Kira have like really amazing outfits, and it looks great.
I was talking to a Star Wars reporter the other day, Steve, and they've been a big supporter of ours for a couple of years, and he brought up the idea of Canto Bite in The Last Jedi would have been so much better if they ran into Lando.
I feel like Lando's character arc moved him past that, though. After Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, he stopped gambling?
In Last Shot, he, didn't seem to be much of a gambler anymore, at least. In the parts that took place after Return of the Jedi.
Well, in The Force Awakens, Leia and Han kind of went back to, whatever they were good at. So,
what they knew, yeah.
Yeah.
But Han wasn't really too much smuggling stuff anymore. He was working with the pilots division and racing things.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't go back to the life before he became more honorable, I guess.
Yeah, or he was always honorable, but he just didn't get to act on it all the time.
Yeah.
Or he had no one holding him accountable. I guess.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the Han Solo character in mythology. He's the Ranger. He is the scummy pirate that our fresh young face, our Luke Skywalker and the old guide run into, and you don't know if you could trust him, because he's a bit of a scumbag, but he's either going to kill them, he's going to turn them in, he's going to sell them to somebody, or he might help them, or he might take the money and do what he said he was going to do. But like in Tolkien, the Lord of the Rings, Viggo Mortensen was the Ranger. He was the Han Solo character. And
right.
You know what his intentions were. Was he going to kill Frodo and take the ring? Was he going to help them? Was he going to sell them out to Mordor, I guess it is? You're the audience. That character is placed for the audience not to trust him. And the audience is the one who's in on, oh, shoot, this guy might be bad. Just like in the original Star Wars, where they get a ride with this guy and say, we'll meet you at Docking Bay 94, and then he shoots some dude in cold blood. So now the audience
He's
is in
just like a really extreme Uber driver.
very extreme Uber driver.
Cool.
Yeah.
Driver.
Yeah. Before I give you a ride, I'm gonna go into the bar and shoot somebody. Yeah, we'll go. The extremely extreme Uber driver. Yeah.
He's just, he was just this he was an Uber driver who got roped into this giant adventure. That's Han Solo.
Yeah, there you go.
Uber smuggler.
Yeah.
Uber.
He's a shady Uber driver.
Interesting. and he drives a black Toyota.
Yeah, and he has a very hairy friend.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man, that could go a few different ways. A trap shut. So, I guess maybe Zoe, if we end up shooting in the Pennsylvania area, maybe we can get you guys out there.
That'd be pretty fun.
Oh yeah, they've been to Marty's house, so
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna shoot the cockpit stuff at Marty's, I hope. And
if it works out.
yeah, if people pay attention to this Indiegogo thing, which I sent you the link to. I don't know if you saw it yet.
Yeah, I see it. I was trying to open it, but the Wi-Fi on this computer for some reason doesn't feel like loading stuff right now, and I want to let it focus on Skype. So,
cool. And and plus, for the price of buying Matt a couple of lattes in the city, we could fund this thing. I just need 1,000 people to buy Matt a couple of lattes in the city.
Yeah, exactly.
a lot of lattes.
Okay. But plus, your dad showed me some of those shots of some weird little desert quarry or something like that nearby.
White Cliffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I really wanted to go shoot out in Vegas for the outside stuff. Find some dunes or something like that to look like Tatooine. If we fall short of our goal, maybe we could do PA instead.
Yeah, because that's literally like 35 minutes from me. And I'm central PA. I'm like a hop, skip, and a jump to Hershey.
If you're going to the White Cliff, be ready to walk with your equipment.
No, actually, we found another entrance.
Okay.
And it's closer.
All right.
There's a pavilion there, and you just walk up a little bit. So that walk we did was too much.
Yeah, a little bit.
We didn't scope it out enough. But yeah, that would definitely be a cool place to do some scenes if you can't do the other thing. So there's always ways around it.
Yeah.
Whatever the budget is, you got to make it work.
I'm kind of a scrappy filmmaker. I'm kind of like used to working with little resources, but if by the favor of the gods, maybe we can do something with some resources. And I have a few locations in mind in which I'd like to shoot, to really get this thing off the green screen. Imagine if they shot the whole Jabba scene on green screen, it would have been god awful, but they're actually in the desert, so, and it makes all the difference in the world.
Honestly, unless you're looking for like absolute desert or like an absolute like rainforest or something, Pennsylvania could give you a lot of good locations to just shoot pretty much anything you want. There's lots of different kinds of weird little places that would be good for filming.
Brought to you by Bucks County Tourism Board.
I'm not Bucks County. I'm definitely not Bucks County, but...
No, Pennsylvania covers a lot of ground, man. So, I'm all for it. And it's close by.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Now, Matt, you're in the city, or are you...
No, I'm in Westchester. I'm about 45 minutes north of the city, up the Hudson.
Oh, okay, so you're not too far away, but...
No.
Okay, that's cool.
Good solid 2 hours for me. And Lancaster and Reading beyond that.
Okay, cool.
And actually, when I work in D.C. or visit relatives in Baltimore, I take the Route 78 to 222 jog that goes by all those places. So I'm fairly familiar with it.
Okay, cool.
So, and maybe, in June we could bring the Falcon to the Reading Air Show.
Ooh.
I just don't have any money for a falcon, so.
A lot takes for a falcon.
Yeah.
It'd probably be like $500,000 to build a wooden one there.
If only we could get him to that tour that's going on now. If they can get it to swing it east.
Things don't like swinging east.
No, they don't.
Especially, and when they do swing east, it's Florida.
Yeah.
What tour? You mean?
There's a Millennium Falcon tour right now.
Really?
I think it's, well, I don't know if it's started yet. It's going to start. But it's, I think it's fan built. And it's different rooms of the Falcon, of the cockpit.
In there.
I know, but I think it's the newer one though.
Oh, okay.
The one in the Han Solo, the new Han Solo movie. I think. I'm not sure. I have to check it out again.
Huh. Yeah, if you see the link, send it to me. I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we have quite a bit of time on here, and Lizzy just texted me and said she has to go. No.
Oh, okay.
She's on California time, so it's like dinner for her.
I gotta work early.
Yeah. So I guess we'll sign off. So thank you guys for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for having me too, and please check out the Indiegogo thing.
Yeah, I will link everything in the description of this episode on iTunes and that kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for being on the show. Sign off. So I was Zoe.
I was Lizzy.
Thank you for listening. May the force be with you, and goodbye.
I was Matt.